Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and this is Memory Keeper Journals. And today we're going to be working on prompt number 3, which has to do with bright color and a journaling card. As you can see here, I already began working on my watercolor paper and I'm using distress ink just to make a background. Here I'm adding kind of like I think it's peanut brittle is the name of the color. And then I add some water and some vintage photo distress ink. And then I'll dry it all just to get it to this point so I can have a background to begin working on the card. So now I was thinking of using one of the stamps that I have purchased from TaylorMade Journals. I pretty much buy all of her stamps every time she has them ready, and I use them throughout the journals, but this time around I wanted it to be the focal point. Some of these are like for Christmas. I'm like getting ready to use those too, but this time around I picked this one with the tree, and it's so pretty, and I was thinking that if I use it as a focal point, then I got to do a little bit more on my background. So I stamped this written, it's like a letter stamp, and it's from Recollections. I've used it a lot before for the background, and it's very subtle. I didn't really want to make it dark, so that again, my stamp from TaylorMade will be the focal point. I also wanted to use some of the sparkle, or I would say glitter. I was thinking about it at this point, so I was just trying to do the edge of the card to be a little bit more aligned, because I was going to glue it to a cardboard or a cardstock, or thicker one at least, to make it more sturdy. But again, I wasn't sure at this point. But you'll see what I do. I was going to see if I could do the same thing she has on her envelope, where she shows exactly what the stamp will look like if you do it as a embossing it. And I wanted to use the gold embossing powder that I have. So we'll see. Since it's supposed to be a bright color, I figure bright gold would be perfect. So here I am just trying to do the color that I want in the background so that it can stand out, and then put the gold on it. Because I really don't have the ink that is for the glitter, and I have no idea how to do it. So I am just working as I go and trying to figure it out. So now I'm gonna go ahead and use the heating tool and see if it stays. And it did somewhat, but not necessarily as good as TaylorMade has it in her envelope. If you hear my dog in the background, it's because she's snoring. She's asleep. I don't know if you can hear her, but just in case, that's what you hear in the background. So for some reason, as I was looking at this card, I wasn't really satisfied with it, and I still didn't know what to do with it. So I started looking for other papers that I had, or pictures, or whatever I could find to make it look nice, and just decided maybe I'll just start another card again and see how it comes out. So here I have another watercolor paper, and this time around I'm just gonna go ahead and use the distress ink and just put it directly to the card, and put as much as I want of color just to change it up a bit and see what it would turn into once I add the water. Usually once you put the water on it, they start reacting totally different and the colors change. So yeah, and I wanted it to see a little bit more color. The other one wasn't as much. So we'll see what it looks like in a few. And even though the paper kind of warps a little bit while I'm doing that, it didn't matter because you can always, you know, just work the paper to the way that you want it to look. You just have to maneuver it, and that's it. Still trying to put a little bit more color because it didn't look like it was full. And I honestly didn't know what color I wanted in the background. I just didn't want it to be just the focal point. And I was already thinking about using one of the cards from the freebies. Didn't want to use the animal for the day, and I can't remember which one was it for day 3. But I decided I was going to use the ones that I really like. So you'll see in a few. So now I'm going to try again this foil that I tried previously and I didn't know how to use, but one of you guys, one of you subscribers mentioned to me that what I was missing on doing was to use the heating tool on it. So this time around I said, okay, then I'm going to try it. And as you can see, I started adding this and trying to take away whatever was the excess of it as much as I could. I started using a brush for it too, just to get the excess and make sure that I glued as much as I could on it. And then I used the heating tool, and you'll see in a few. And it actually worked. It came out pretty good. I just have to figure out how to use it where it looks a little bit more even, more cohesive. And this time around, I just made it all messy. I just wanted to see if it would actually work. And here you see me using the heating tool, and it was working, but I had to get rid of some of the excess that was coming out on the side of it, and it didn't look right. And this time it worked. It actually got stuck on the paper. Before it didn't. When I tried it the first time, it didn't work, but it eventually started working, and I just decided, okay, I'm going to continue using it throughout. So here I was trying to press it good enough before I can go ahead and use the heating tool, but it didn't stay quite stuck to the paper, so I kept having to put more on it and then just squash it down as much as I could just so it can get stuck to the glue. And it was just giving me a hard time. So I figured, okay, let me put the heat on first, just keep those, and then add more glue and add more in the same area. It was even getting stuck in my fingers. So I really need to figure out how to best use this foil like this. Maybe it's better to buy the foil that is actually like a sheet of paper. I've seen other videos where they have used that kind of foil, and it works so much better because you just have to rub it with something on over the surface, and it will actually stick before you can use the heating tool. But this one, it's really difficult. So now I took both cards out just to see if I really want to work with the first one that I started. And no, I literally eventually end up putting it to the side. I don't work on it. I still have it because eventually something will come up and I'll be able to use it for later. It's just I wasn't ready for it. But for now, I have this piece of paper that has a it was used like a die cut or something. It was actually something that I purchased from one of the friends that I have on Instagram, and it came in that package that I bought, and it's supposed to be used in a journal, but because I don't have that kind of a die for me to cut those roses out of a page, I actually use it like if it's a stencil. It's not really a stencil, but it works just as good. And so I decided to use it on the card to create some kind of a background. And again, here you see me using my stamp again with the words, and I put it right in the middle. And I was trying to just prep the background for the focal point. And the focal point ended up being butterflies because I love butterflies. I love flowers. So I decided that's what I was going to do. But prior to that, you will notice that I was trying everything I had just to create a collage or some type of background, or a focal point or something for the focal point, and it wasn't working out. And you'll see what I tried to do here. So I'm showing you all of the process, everything that I was doing and trying to do, and how many times I've changed my mind. And that's basically how I work. I just try everything I have around me that is accessible to me, and just, audition it and try it. And if it doesn't work, then I start all over again. But this one was really giving me a difficult time. I just couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. I really love this paper that I get from Rose Hill Paper Cottage, the embossed papers. And then I took out this box of little flowers that I had, and trying to figure out maybe I could use bright colors of flowers. Nope, that did not work either. I just did not feel comfortable with it. I tried everything. Nothing worked for me. I just didn't feel it. I kept putting it on the card and I just couldn't feel that. I don't know if it ever happens to you, but I know it was just, I don't know. It wasn't working for me. I even tried that butterfly. That butterfly actually came apart and I was supposed to glue it together. I never ended up using either. So it's okay. We just try everything that we can. That just didn't look good. And I knew it. So here I'm looking to see if I find something that would actually call my attention. I still couldn't figure out what else until I finally decided, okay, let me look at all of my cards and things that I fussy cut prior to starting this dephemerember. And here I'm looking for cards, anything that I can find that I could use as a focal point, until I actually made the decision of using the butterflies. And this picture was pretty cool too. I was wondering, I really didn't think about using that. I wanted to, but it was too big. Then I would have to cut it down. And that was one of the collages that I had made watching Ruby and Pearl's video. And I did not want to use it on that card. I think it's going to be perfect to put on a page in one of the journals that I'm working on. So this is where I decided, okay, none of this is going to be used, so I might as well just get it out of the way and start all over. And this is usually my process, guys. It usually takes 2 hours or 2.5 hours, because you're taking your time. As you can see, this is all sped up so that the video doesn't stay on for over 2 hours for you to watch. So it takes time. I sometimes pause throughout, while I'm working, and I look around in my drawers or whatever I have, and just try to think about, maybe I can use this or I can use that. And so I came up across this like a picture frame, and I said, well, maybe I can use that too. And that's where the butterflies are, as you can see on the side in the card. And I get to fussy cut those and add them on there as focal point. And you'll see in a few what I do. And I was actually pretty satisfied with it. Here I distress the edges so that it can actually have a, we can see it in the middle of that card. So I was adding Black Suit is what it's called, from one of the distress inks from Tim Holtz. And then I fussy cut all of the butterflies. Fussy cutting these butterflies takes some time too. There's days where I can fussy cut a whole bunch of things and cards and focal points, and I put them all in a box just like you saw before, because I like to have them ready for whenever I need them. But some days I can't do it. I mean, my carpal tunnel, whew, man, let me tell you, that's difficult to deal with when you're trying to fussy cut things, or if you want to sew or whatever. It's pretty difficult. So when I'm okay, I do as many as I can. So here, this is more or less what the card is going to look like. I wasn't sure yet if I was going to put it straight or what, and how I was going to add it to the journal. I didn't know if I was going to do a pocket for it or what, but you'll see what I end up doing. So here I decided to add ink on the edges again, like I did with the first card, because it looks good. It just outlines it, and it has a little bit of a darker blue, but you can't really tell that that card is behind it either. So I needed to see how I was going to create that, because I wanted to use that cardboard in the background just so that it can be sturdy. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll do a flip out, or I can try something like what I learned with Martina at Teal and Tattered, where she added jump rings. But I don't think it would work in this journal because it's a accordion journal. It's not just pages. It would have been easier if it was just the pages. Maybe I could do it with the accordion journal, but I also have to keep in mind that whatever I add on one page on this side of the book, you're going to see it in the back of it too. And you might have to use it for whatever prompt then. And so I didn't want to give myself more work when it came to that. And so here I'm adding a little quote in a card, and I'm using some of these, the cheesecloths that I actually distressed as well. And I have some on the side too in case I need more. And then I grabbed one of the labels from Tracy Fox, and I added the quote, or the little word. Can't remember exactly what it says. I think it says be authentic. I think that's what it said. And I put it on there. And I believe those words are from Treasure Books. What's her name again? Natasha from Treasure Books. And I've had it for years. I think 2 years now that I have her quotes and stuff in a piece of paper, and I cut them out and I have them in a little box. And as you can see right there, I have a whole bunch of words and quotes and stuff in that little box, and I use them throughout the journals. I just thought I needed something there. And I'm sorry I'm off the camera. It's a phone, and it moves sometimes, and then when I need to see it closer, I kind of tend to bring it down so you don't see the whole card, and then I realized it afterwards that you guys, I wasn't in frame. And I'm trying to make sure that the cheesecloth stays put on the card so it doesn't come off. And it's okay to be loose on the sides and whatnot, but not necessarily in the middle. I just want to make sure it doesn't come off. And it's looking pretty cute so far. And I will make sure that I will take some pictures and post it on my Instagram so you guys can see it in a close-up look. But I know that you can't really see it like this on a video, even though now YouTube allows for you to pinch the video in a way like that you can make it bigger so that you can see it. You can see the background or close up, which that's pretty cool because it didn't allow that before. So now I'm just cutting coffee dye paper so that I can glue it in the back of the journaling card. That way we can write behind it. And then I am going to distress the edges with some vintage photo distress ink. I'm just burnishing really good, making sure the glue is spread out throughout. And once I clean it up, I distress the edges. And then I will use the same roses that I used in the front area to the back, just to give it a little bit of a design in the background. But it's just a distress, and then we can always write. Here I was just trying to trim whatever was left over on the paper. I think the glue kind of made it a little soft, so I had to just trim whatever was excess of the coffee dye paper. And it was looking pretty cute. I just was trying to think about how I was going to add it into the journal. It was a pretty big journaling card. Pretty much almost the same size as the page as well. So I wasn't sure where I was going to put it as well, but I wanted it to be in chronological order. So for some reason it was bothering me if I wanted to use any other page. It wasn't going to be in order, and I don't know, because I don't have, like, all the pages are the same. So yeah, I just wanted it to be right next to the second prompt. So just kind of like I did my junk journal July, I did the same thing. So here now I start trying to audition whatever I can find to add as a hinge. And I looked through all of my pieces that I had of material and scrap, and scrappy bits of material that I had there, or ribbons. I'm just trying to see if it would look good, if it would match. Didn't know how I was gonna put it together. And again, I really wanted to do the hinges with the jump rings and stuff, but it wasn't working out. And here I was thinking, well, maybe I'll use the doily and I can continue the rest of it in the back, or glue part of it to the card. And I was like, no, I'm not gonna use the doily for that. I really want to use that on a journal, like for a cover or a page. So it took me a bit. I looked through everything that I had at least available. So here's when I took out the ribbons, and I was trying to see maybe I can use this burlap kind, just to keep it in the same color family that I have already. And my intentions, even from the beginning, using this accordion journal, was to use blue. And for some reason, I ended up in the yellow and orange family. So it's fine. I can still use the blue, but we'll see. That glue had finished. It got ruined. I think the cover had gotten broken up and it spilled in the area where I had it, and it didn't work, so I just figured I use my wet glue. It works as well. It's as good as it does. So you see, I am wearing using this one, and it's fine. I'm trimming it and getting it ready for it. And that's about the last thing that I'm going to be doing. It actually left some room for me to decide what I want to do in that page, because it became a flip out. But if you guys have trouble trying to do a flip out or anything like that, anything can work. Whether it's a ribbon, a piece of material, it doesn't matter. As long as you use that wet glue, it should be fine. It worked out for me. And then eventually I will do something on the inside. But in the meantime, guys, I think the video is coming into an end. So don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be aware of when I actually post and upload another video. Of course, I'm going to be seeing you next time. Thank you so much for visiting and being here and crafting with me. And I will see you again next time. Thank you for watching. Bye now.